I will explain three topics: correlation test, line graph, and bar plot. So let's start with them. First of all, correlation test. For correlation test, I'll be using this file that mtcars, and the command will be CORTEST. That's contraction of correlation test, and mtcars. And the first variable I want to use is cylinders, number of cylinders, and second variable is horsepower. So that's it. So this is a command that's correlation test. One variable that's cylinders, number of cylinders, and other variable is horsepower. And when I hit Control Enter, um, it gives me this correlation test results. And in this correlation test, there are a number of things that are important. The most important thing is correlation coefficient. That's 0.832224%, which means that the correlation between these two variables is 83.24%, which means a change in one once the change in one happens, the change in other is reflected to this percent. That's one thing. And another thing that's important here is this p-value. P-value is this p-value is very small. That's probability value, and it's also less than the threshold value, that's 5%. It means that we have confidence that this phenomenon, that there's a high correlation between number of cylinders and horsepower. This correlation will also be observed in the broader population. So this is something that relates to distinction between sample and population. This is our sample because this data comes only from, I think, 32 observation. Let me show you structure, mtcars, and so here this is our structure, and you can see here this is 32 observations of 11 variable. So this sample is really small, and our purpose is to make inference about broader population. And so we can say that this phenomena, that this correlation, which is a very good correlation that we have observed in this sample, and based on this p-value, which is very small, it indicates that this phenomena would also be observed in the broader population. So that's all about correlation test. And the next thing will be line graph. And for line graph, I will use this command plot mtcars, and I will choose one variable. Let's say if I choose mileage per gallon, and the next thing I need to add here, type is equal to L stands for line. So I want to make a line graph, so that's it. If I hit it, Control Enter, it gives us this very simple graph, and we need to refine it further. So for instance, one thing that we can do here is that you can add here color, and let's say if I say red color, and that's one way. But in case if you do not want a red color, you can also add any color of your choice. But if you want to add another color, you can also add from this website that's called as htmlcolorcode.com, and from here you can choose any color of your choice. So for instance, let's say if I want to choose this color, or if I want to choose this color, and its code is this one, I will copy this code from here and I will paste it here, and it will give me that color. And when I run it, so you see the color changes accordingly. Initially it was red, but now it has changed to this color that represents this code. And next thing is we can add here let's say x-axis label, and let's say for instance I want to mention, I just want to repeat the same thing, index here, but let's say if I want to capitalize it just to show that how it's done. And the other thing, y label is equal to, let's say I want to retain the same thing, mpg or mileage, and if I run it, then you can see those same x-axis and y-axis labels appear there. And one final thing is title, and for that we use main is equal to, let's say, mileage of cars. And if I run it, you see that title also appears. Now everything is set, and we are done with this graph. Let me repeat it very quickly one more time. So the syntax that's used for this one is this one. We use plot function, and we specify the name of variable. Name of variable is mpg, that comes from our data. Type is equal to L stands for line graph, which means we want to make a line graph. This is a color. You can choose any color, red, blue, green, or you can copy it from HTML color code website. And this is x-axis and y label axis that we choose. And because these are things we choose, so we put them in double inverted commas. And this is the title. Okay, now one more thing. In the next step, I will be adding in this plot one more variable, and I'm not sure other variable it might fall below this spectrum. So for example, I can see here it's up to maybe just 40, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, and maybe 40, but maybe other variable is up to 500, 200. So I need to expand this axis, and for that purpose I will add here ylim, and that's equal to c. The lower value of y-axis I set it to 100, and the upper value I will set to 450. And once I run it, so let me clean this one, and I will run this command again. Now everything is set. Sometime because of this spacing problem it can happen. So if I remove this syntax, okay, so it's done, which means we have this thing. The y-axis has been expanded. Initially it was something up to just 30 or 40, but now it has been extended up to 400, and everything is set here. We have here x-axis and y-axis, title, and this is also expanded. And again, expanding this one is not a part of making a line graph. I just wanted to expand it because I want to add here another variable, and the other variable which might be something 200, 300, 400. So therefore I had to expand this one. So that's everything for for making a bar plot. And to add another variable, I will use this function lines, and empty cars, I will select a variable. Let's say select a variable horsepower, and if I run it, you can see here that other variable, this black one, it represents horsepower, it has been added. Now let's if I mention here color is equal to blue, so it has been turned blue. And now one last thing that I will do here, I will add here legends, and for that I will mention here top right. Top right is the name of position, which means where I want my legends to appear here, and legends mean that I need to mention what this blue line represents and what this red line represents. So I'm using here top right position, which means I want my legends to appear here at exactly at this place. Okay, and then legend is equal to, and what names you want to give. The first one was mileage, so I used mileage, and the other one was horsepower, so I just use horsepower for that, and that's it. So if I run it, you see here that this legend appears here, mileage and power. I can also change this to top left rather than top right. Then this legend should appear here. So for example, let's say if I enter top left, and if I run it again, it appears here. So I will run this whole command so that the one on the right side is eliminated. So I run this command from the beginning, so this one, and this one, and you can see here that it appears here. And the last thing I want to do is that I want to also mention here that mileage is which one and power is which one. So for that purpose I will add here color, and color is equal to C. The first one is mileage, and mileage was a red one, so I will use red, and the other one is blue, so I will add here blue. And one more thing that we need to add here would be LTY is equal to 1. LTY is equal to 1, which roughly means, for your understanding, you can say that it's something respectively. And so we have this thing here. I can run this one again, the whole command. So when I just run it, this is a mileage MPG graph, and then I will run this horsepower that's added, and finally this legends, and you can see here this legend appear which says that red one is mileage and blue one is power. So this is how we make this line graph. Let me repeat here very quickly. So in this line graph we use this command plot, and we mention mileage per gallon, and then type is equal to L. That's it. This is the very basic command for making a line graph. The rest is all aesthetics. So the rest is color. You can choose a color of your choice, and then X label, and then Y label, and then this is title, and then this is expansion of y-axis. But the main command is only this one, starting from here up to here, and that will give you a single line graph. And once you want to add another variable in the same plot, then we use this one. And for the other one, the minimum requirement is this one, which means you add here lines and the name of variable. The other is all aesthetics. And the last thing is legend. In legend you can add here top right, top left, bottom, etc., center. You can also add here center, CENTER. And if no, I need to run this from the beginning, this one and this one and this one, and it would appear something like this. This one, it appears somewhere in the center, which is not a good idea. So I will go back to top right or top left, top right, and again I need to run all these commands. So that's it. So this is a line graph, and in this part we first did how to make a line graph of one variable and how to add an other variable in the same plot, and then also adding legends. So that's all about line graph. And the next thing is making a bar plot. Now, for bar plot, there are two ways. One thing is by using simple RStudio, and for that purpose, it's a two-step process. In the first step, we need to first of all, let's say if I want to make a bar graph of cylinders, there are three categories in this data. So, for instance, here is about our data, and this is our cylinders data. So you see here in this column, there's a 6 cylinder, 4 cylinder, 8 cylinder, 684, 6888, and like that. So we have three categories of cars. For example, let's say this is Volvo. Volvo has 4 cylinders, and then Ferrari. Ferrari has 6 cylinders, and Ford, this model, it has 8 cylinders, like that. So we have and then Dodge also has 4 cylinder, AMC, and other cars. So a car may have 4 cylinders, 6 cylinders, or 8 cylinders. So let's say if I want to make a bar plot and I want to check how many cars have 4 cylinders, 6 cylinders, and 8 cylinders for the bar plot, and how would we do that? So I can remove this one by clicking on this broom. Yes, I want to eliminate that, and I will also clear this one, console. And then for bar plot, the first step is to make a table. So let's say, for example, if I say I make a table, my table, that's an object that will be creating everything, and I will write table and empty cars, and name of the variable is cylinder, and if I run it, it makes a table. And if you want to see that what type of table is created, you can just run this command my table and run it, and it shows you this one. It says that for 4 cylinders there are 11 cars, for 6 cylinders there are 7 cars, and for 8 cylinders there are 14 cars. And there could be another way. I can also write here view V with capital, and then if I run it, it shows me this one. It shows that this variable, that's actually a name of cylinder. With 4 cylinder there are 11 cars, 7 cars have 6 cylinders, and 14 cars have 8 cylinders. So that's it. We don't need this variable. I just wanted to show you. Okay, so once we have make this table, now we will make a bar plot of this one. So I will use here bar plot, and then using my table, and that's it. That's the simplest command. So you see here this bar plot appears here, and of course it's not sufficient. We will add here many statics element. Again, how do we do that? So for making a bar plot, it's a two-step process. In the first step, you need to make a table that tells you, because there are two variables, one is a number of cylinders and the second is their frequency. So we use this table function here to make a table, and this one you can choose it. You can say my file, or you can even give it your own name or your family name, doesn't make any difference. So a table that will convert this data of cylinders into a table, and then in bar plot we will have we say that make a bar plot of this one, this object that we created, and it makes this one, and rest is all aesthetics. So for instance, you can say here color is equal to I am using the same color. I think it was um, so this color, let me see. Yeah, this color is there. You can also add here, let's say rather than using this one, you can use turquoise, and that's turquoise. And then you can add here other things. For example, x-axis, let's say if I say cylinders, that's number of cylinders. And on y-axis, ylab is equal to let's say their count or frequency, whatever you like. And that's it. So you see here cylinders and frequency appears here. And the last thing would be to add here a title, and that would be main is equal to number of cylinders in various cars. So if I run it, it gives us this thing, that's number of cylinders in various cars, and everything seems okay. So if I repeat this whole thing, this bar plot, I would say that it's a two-step process. In the first step, you tabulate your data and make a table by using this command. This is an object, and you make a table. And in the next step, you make a bar plot of all the data that's enclosed in this my table. So for making table, this is the command, and for making bar plot, this is the minimum command. Rest is all statics. Okay, then we have another way to make this plot by using ggplot. And for that purpose, let's say I write here using making bar plot using ggplot. And for that, let's say install packages, and here I can use ggplot or tidyverse, both will work. So let's say if I use a tidyverse, that's the package. And the next step would be require it. Okay, that's it. Now for ggplot, I will use this ggplot, and then name of file, and then name of file is empty cars, that's our original one. And then statics AES, that stands for statics. X-axis is equal to cylinders, and we need to write here cylinders only. We cannot write here empty cars and then $ cylinder, because name of file is already there. So we only write here cylinders, don't write here empty cars $cylinder. And then a plus sign, and then when I enter it, then geom bar plot, geom bar. And that's it. That's the simplest command. And you see here, that's the simplest form of bar plot that appears here. But of course, that's not sufficient. We need to make it a bit more beautiful. So for instance, let's say if I mention here color, and by color here it means outline. So for example, let's say if I say I want a red color outline, and I run it, you see red color outline appears. And for inside color, I need to use fill. And for fill, if I have to use a color, I can go back to this HTML color. And let's say if I use this green one, and this is the code, and if I enter here that color code and I run it, it gives me this one. And then in the next line, we can add here other thing. For example, I want to add here title, so I will enter here gg title. And let's say that title becomes a number of cylinders in various cars. And if I run it, it gives me here number of cylinders in various cars. And then you can, if you want to add further line, keep adding plus sign. And then for example, If you want to access, let me write it cylinders, and plus ylab. uh, the way is different here in ggplot. Ggplot is an entirely different. So let me here add frequency. I want to use this one, and if I run it, it gives me this one. So there are a few differences that I want to highlight. So initially we made the same plot using just RStudio, and that was a two-step process. In the first step we make a table, and then we make a bar plot. But over here we did not tabulate data, we did not make a table. ggplot will itself do all these things, but the procedure here is a little bit different. So this is, whenever we are using ggplot, the command always starts with this one, ggplot, and the name of file aesthetics x is equal to that, and then geom bar, because we are making the geom stands for geometry, and bar plot. If we are making a histogram, then we will mention here geom underscore histogram, and then color, and then fill, and then all other are just labeling. So using ggplot, uh, these two things are a minimum requirement. Rest is aesthetics. That's, this is about title, and this is about access, and that's all about making bar plot using ggplot, gggraph, ggplot.